Chapter 5 Alliances. Up top of building roof, Adagio and her fellow sirens had just finished telling Karai their whole story. Karai was partly shocked and partly calm as well.
Unbelievable. You're actually sirens from another world? I know. Weird, huh?
Sonata asked.
I'm impressed you're so calm about this.
Adagio added in surprise.
I've been fighting mutants ever since I came to New York. I've learned to stop being so surprised.
Karai explained.
I see.
Adagio replied.
So you're saying these girls, the Rainbooms, as they're called, have allied themselves with the Turtles?
Karai inquired.
Got that right.
Arya confirmed.
And they possess magic beyond your human understanding. As long as they're here and allied with your enemies? Well, let's just say it could be bad for you and your ninja robots.
Adagio began.
What are you hoping for?
Karai crossed her arms.
An alliance.
Adagio answered.
Alliance? Why, of course. We know how the Rainbooms work, and you know how those turtles work. With our combined knowledge, we could take out both enemies at once.
The lead siren explained.
Well, we would if we had our magic again.
Sonata sighed. She showed Karai bits of her gemstone pendant she and the others recovered since their defeat. Karai thought about this before smirking.
Not to worry. My father has someone who may be able to help you with that. Then we have a deal?
Adagio asked while holding out her hand. Karai shook her hand.
Deal. However, if you really want a partnership, you have to take that up with my father. And quite frankly, he's not so easily persuaded. We'll take our chances.
Adagio said.
Then come with me,
Karai said as she led the Dazzlings off. Back at the sewers, Pinky was playing the Space Heroes pinball game with Rainbow and Casey watching. Twilight and April were sharing stories with each other. Applejack, Sunset, Leo, and Raph were lounging on the couch. Rarity was looking through her phone, and Fluttershy was sitting down with Spike on her lap. Suddenly, Mikey came in.
Alright, girls, front and center.
The Rainbooms curiously looked over as Mikey was wheeling a diagram over.
What is that?
If your enemies are going to be siding with our enemies down the line, we're going to have to teach you about them. Which is why I made this!
Mikey then presented his diagram with pictures of mutants that looked like they were drawn by a child. The girls looked at the diagram, confused, while Leo and Raph's faces flaunted. Twilight spoke up.
No offense, Mikey, but I don't think that diagram will help us.
Mikey pouted until Donnie stepped in.
While Mikey has the right idea, I took the liberty of drawing up a better detailed diagram.
He then pushed Mikey's aside and wheeled in his own diagram with actual pictures of the Shredder, his hench mutants, and other allies. Rainbow eyed the center picture being of the Shredder and spoke.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and guess that's the Shredder.
That's right.
Leo confirmed before looking at Twilight.
You saw him in your vision, right?
Twilight looked at the picture and nodded.
Yes, he's the one.
Well, you know all about Shredder from Sensei's side and our side, as well as his footbots.
Leo continued.
Let's get down to talking about his mutant henchmen.
Donnie said.
Start with that mutant over there.
Twilight pointed at a picture of a skeletal werewolf creature.
He was one of the mutants I saw in my vision.
Rarity looked repulsed.
He looks so ghastly.
Mikey stood up.
Oh, can I tell them? Can I?
Leo sighed.
Okay, Mikey.
Mikey cleared his throat and began.
This is Rahzar.
Rahzar?
Sunset inquired.
Mikey has a habit of naming our mutant enemies.
Raph explained.
Except for the one I did.
Donnie said until Mikey shushed him.
Shh! Turtle explaining here, thank you.
He continued.
Anyway, before he was a mutant, he was a man named Chris Bradford.
Rainbow looked up.
Wait a minute. Chris Bradford? As in Chris Bradford, the famous martial artist and owner of the long line of Bradford dojos?
You betcha.
Mikey nodded.
He's really a villain?
Rainbow said, feeling crushed.
Yeah, surprised me too.
Mikey sighed.
Anyway, I befriended him online and asked to meet with him. When we did, I thought he really considered me a friend. Turned out he was just using me to try to get to Sensei.
Fluttershy looked sad at what Mikey said.
I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve to be deceived like that.
That mean he doesn't deserve your friendship after doing that.
Pinky said, feeling steamed about what he did to Mikey.
So, how did he become this zombie mutant?
Sunset asked.
He got mutated by the same mutagen that mutated us. Came out looking like a big, bulky dog mutant.
Mikey explained.
Based on his appearance, I believe it was an Akita dog.
Donnie explained.
Hello, I'm talking here.
Mikey spoke up in irritation.
Just stating the facts.
Donnie answered before sitting back down.
Since then, we started calling him Dog Pound.
Mikey added.
By your suggestion.
Raph quipped while Mikey glared at him for interrupting.
Dog pound?
Twilight asked.
Like we said, it's Mikey's habit.
Leo explained.
Just call me Dr. Namenstein.
Mikey boasted. Twilight rolled her eyes.
That's not even a real name.
No kidding.
Spike replied.
So, if he started out big and bulky, how'd he turn into that?
Applejack noted the picture of Rahzar.
Months ago, he ended up falling into a tank of mutagen and came out like that. And since then, I've started calling him Rahzar. And this form makes him stronger and even faster than ever.
Mikey finished.
Wonder if I'd look like that if I got mutated.
Spike wondered.
Ugh, don't even think on that, Spike.
Twilight said, hating to envision it.
Alright, which mutant do you want to know about next?
Donnie asked. Twilight eyed a tiger mutant with an eye patch.
I also saw that tiger creature with the shredder. Who was he?
Leo spoke up.
His name's Tiger Claw, though he was already called that before we met him.
I was gonna name him that if he didn't have that name to begin with.
Mikey spoke up, only for Raph to smack the back of his head, shutting him up.
So, what's his story?
Rainbow asked.
Actually, we don't know too much about him.
Leo explained.
We found out he was a deadly assassin from Japan and was mutated by the Krang when he was just a kid. He proved to be one of our toughest challenges when Shredder brought him in.
So how do you beat him?
Spike asked.
He got eaten by one of the Krang's giant pet worms.
Leo chuckled.
Worms?
Rarity asked in disgust.
During our first encounter with them, the Krang brought in these worms from their home dimension, and one of them ended up swallowing Tiger Claw before we transported it to another dimension.
Leo continued.
Unfortunately, Tiger Claw didn't stay gone for long. He got out of the worm's belly and found his way back to our dimension. He's so tough, it takes all of us just to match him.
Sounds like one bad pig.
Applejack noted.
Alright, which of the mutants do you want to hear about next?
Donnie asked. Rainbow noticed the fish mutant image.
What's with this fish with the robot legs?
Raph spoke up.
That's Fishface. He was originally a street thug named Sever, who had knowledge of all the New York gangs. At the same time Bradford got mutated, he also got doused in mutagen and came out mutant fish.
Donnie spoke up.
Due to his fish-like requirements, such as water with no legs, we didn't see him since his initial mutation. Shredder eventually found someone to build him a breathing apparatus and robot legs, enabling him to move on land again.
And Mikey named him Fishface.
Sunset asked.
He was between that and Robocarp.
Mikey explained.
Then it's a good thing you're stuck with the first choice.
Spike said. Rarity noticed one of the pictured mutants was a fly man.
Oh dear heaven! Is that a fly?
Yeah, but we knew him as a human long before he got mutated.
Donnie explained.
His name is Baxter Stockman. He's a scientist known for his robotic creations like his Mauser robots. Shredder ended up hiring him to build Fishface's legs and breather device. Shredder ended up mutating him into a fly, and since then has been more of a problem than he used to be.
Yeah, one time he ended up brainwashing Raph to work for Shredder.
Mikey explained while motioning to Raph, who looked ready to smack him again.
Okay, next mutant.
Twilight said.
Hi, that Rhino Man!
Pinky pointed to the mutant in the picture. Leo spoke up.
He was a Russian arms dealer named Steranko, who was a business partner with Shredder. But after an incident, the Shredder mutated him into a rhino.
I named him Rocksteady since then.
Mikey put in.
And who's the warthog?
Rainbow asked.
Nice haircut!
Pinky noticed his mohawk.
He was a thief named Zek.
Donnie explained.
We accidentally crossed paths with him a while back when he tried to steal Shredder's helmet.
What's with the jumpsuit?
Sunset wondered.
It's his tech suit, and it's tricked out with multiple gadgets, from an invisibility field, lasers, and gas bombs.
Donnie explained.
He got mutated at the same time as Steranko did.
Leo put in.
And now I call him Bebop.
Mikey finished. Raph looked at the board.
Hey, how come Karai's not on it?
Raph?
Leo and Donnie scolded him.
What? Just for a reference to villains?
The hothead explained.
Who's crying?
Fluttershy asked. Splinter had entered after hearing everything.
Karai was the child who Shredder stole from.
Twilight gasped.
Karai is Miwa?
Splinter nodded.
Yes. After Shredder destroyed my home and my beloved Tang Shen, he took Miwa from me and raised her as his own, making her believe I was the one who took her mother from her, and that Shredder was her father.
So, how did you meet her?
Rarity inquired.
I was the first to actually meet her. The others didn't really know about her.
Leo began.
She tried to convince Leo to join her.
Raph spoke up, much to Leo's irritation.
I warned him about trusting her, being in the Foot Clan and all.
April put in, making Leo feel even more guilty.
I had hoped there was good in her, to make her forget about following Shredder's way.
Leo told the girls.
Yes, and Leonardo was not far off, for I discovered Karai was Miwa when I confronted Shredder during the first prank invasion.
Splinter began.
It took a while, but we managed to convince Karai, and help her see the truth, but by that time, Shredder locked her up.
Leo continued.
When we finally rescued her, we thought things would be better, but Karai tried to go after Shredder on her own.
I don't think I'm gonna like where this is headed.
Fluttershy trembled.
Shredder ended up capturing her, and tried to use her as bait to lure us into a trap, where he planned to mutate us into mindless serpents.
Leo carried on.
During our fight, he ended up putting a chain to the cage that he had Karai trapped in, and it landed into the mutagen.
The girls and Spike gasped as Donnie spoke.
Karai came out of the Snakeweed with her mind warped. When Stockman's lab was on the verge of blowing up, she regained enough of her senses to escape, so then we looked for her while trying to come up with a retro mutagen to change her back. After the crime took over the city, we managed to track her down and found that she somehow was able to shift between her mutant and human forms, but she still didn't have her full mind. When we finished the retro mutagen, it didn't work on her because her unique abilities being only half mutant. She left because her mind was just about done.
Leo spoke up.
But Shredder ended up catching her and somehow turned her back to normal, save for her snake abilities. But then he brainwashed her the same way he had done to Raph.
So she's an enemy again?
Twilight asked.
Unfortunately, but we're gonna get her back someday.
Leo promised.
Boy, you guys really been through a lot.
Spike said. Meanwhile, in the lair of the Shredder, Karai showed her 3 new friends inside as they entered the Shredder's throne room. Standing at his side were Tiger Claw, Rahzar, and Fishface.
Father.
Karai bowed her head to the man on the throne, while the Dazzlings looked up at him, feeling intimidated.
Karai,
Shredder began until he eyed the 3 girls behind her.
what is this? You bring strangers into our lair?
Karai spoke up.
No, Father. Listen to me. These girls can help us.
Shredder stopped.
Help us.
Tiger Claw spoke.
And just what can these girls do that could be beneficial to us?
They can help us defeat the turtles.
Karai explained as Rahzar, Fishface, and Shredder were taken back. Shredder spoke.
And how can they do that?
Karai motioned the 3 forward as Adagio spoke.
Lord Shredder, allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Adagio Dazzle. This is Arya Blaze and Sonata Dust. And your turtle enemies are now linked to our enemies as well. If you help us, we may just be able to help you.
Shredder glared at them through his mask, making Sonata shake in fright until he answered.
I'm listening, but you better make it worth my time.
The Dazzlings felt relieved that they had his attention, but now only hoped that he would be willing to help them. Meanwhile, back in the sewer lair, Casey was telling the girls about one of New York's top street gangs.
The Purple Dragons run amok in the Chinese district of New York on a daily basis, picking off any unsuspecting citizen for their money and valuables. With only 3 members, they were hardly a threat, until Hun came along. He actually knows how to fight. Boy, did he give me a sore beating.
Casey explained, feeling ashamed about his first loss against them. Soon Mikey came in, carrying pizza boxes.
Who's hungry?
The turtles and the humans looked excited that the pizza had arrived, and were soon gorging down on the stuff. Twilight spoke.
I'm surprised you eat this every day. Don't you get bored of it?
Are you kidding? This is the best human food we've ever tasted.
Mikey answered.
Back then, the closest things we ever could enjoy had worms and algae in it.
Donnie added, much to Rarity's disgust.
I think I lost my lunch.
She said, while turning green.
Then I guess I'll take your share.
Rarity snatched her plate.
Not so fast!
Rarity called as she took her plate back. As Leo ate a slice, he spoke up.
So this band you're part of, the Rainbooms? How good are you girls exactly?
We're awesome!
Rainbow declared.
I believe it when I got proof.
Raph said.
You want proof? You got it.
Pinky pulled out a cassette.
What's that?
Mikey asked.
This is a little number we made when Twilight and Spike went back to Equestria after we defeated the Dazzlings.
Pinky explained.
And Sunset Shimmer since then has become our new backup singer and guitar player.
Rainbow added.
Why don't you give it a listen and see what you think?
Applejack asked. Mikey went and came back with a boombox.
Here, put it in.
Pinky put the cassette tape in, and the music started playing. Twilight and Spike listened to the song, seeing how well their Canterlot High friends were, especially with Sunset Shimmer as part of the band. April looked like she was really getting into the song by tapping her feet to the rhythm, while Mikey was waving his finger around. Leo, Casey, and Donnie felt moved by the song as well, and even Raph looked like he was really enjoying the sound of it. When the tape was finished, Pinky stopped it.
What'd you think?
That was so cool.
Mikey cheered.
It was amazing.
April added.
I gotta admit, you girls really do know how to jam.
Casey put in.
It was like a work of art.
Donnie said.
You girls definitely know how to play.
Leo added. All eyes fell on Raph, who had a blank expression.
What?
Don't hide it from us, Raphael. We saw you moving to the sound.
Rarity called it.
So what if I was?
Raph asked.
Jeez, you need to lighten up.
Pinky said.
Fine. I thought it was great.
He confessed.
Happy?
Yes.
Pinky grinned, much to Raph's annoyance.
You girls really sounded great.
Twilight smiled.
With Sunset Shimmer, we were more awesome.
Rainbow admitted as Sunset smiled.
And didn't you say that when you play music, you gain pony features?
April asked.
Yeah, ears, tails, the whole shebang.
Applejack confirmed.
Even now, we still do when we play together.
Fluttershy added.
But at first you gained that power when Twilight drew power from her crown the first time?
Donnie inquired.
Yeah, but now we rely on music.
Rainbow answered. Leo started pondering before turning to Splinter.
Sensei, do you think it would be possible if we taught Twilight and the others to become kunoichis?
What?
His brothers gasped.
Kunoichi?
Twilight asked. April answered.
A female ninja. I've been training to be one myself.
Splinter pondered.
Given the circumstances of Twilight's vision, there will be no doubt she and possibly the others will end up crossing paths with Shredder and his minions.
So can they?
Leo asked hopefully. Splinter answered.
They can, but the choice will be up to them.
Heck yeah!
Rainbow got up.
A chance to be a super awesome ninja? I'm there!
Me too!
Pinky jumped up.
Count me in, y'all.
Applejack agreed.
Well, fighting isn't my thing since I'm a lady of fashion.
Rarity began before growing a determined look.
But for my friends, I will endure such a trial. Oh, I don't know if I'm cut out to fight.
Fluttershy said in doubt.
There's more to being a ninja than just knowing how to fight.
Donnie said.
It's also about being wise and resourceful.
Leo added.
Really?
Fluttershy asked as they nodded.
Well, I guess I can do that. If the sirens are involved, we need all the strength we need.
Sunset said as all eyes fell on Twilight.
How about it, Twilight?
Leo asked.
Well, I'm so sure I'll be as good as a fighter as your turtles are.
Twilight said in doubt.
Twilight, it won't matter if you won't be as good as the others. But what matters is you'll fight together. So they all have your back. Even I would fight to help you.
Spike explained. Twilight smiled from Spike's words of wisdom and answered.
Then I want to learn too.
Splinter smiled.
The 7 of you have made a wise choice. Come, we shall begin right away.
Now?
The girls asked.
The sooner the better.
Splinter added. Raph smirked.
Good luck.
Meanwhile, back in Shredder's lair, Adagio finished telling the Shredder the details of their situation.
And that's our story, Master Shredder.
After listening to their tale, Rahzar and Fishface broke out into laughter, much to the Dazzling's annoyance. A land of talking ponies? Rahzar asked between laughs.
And that's even more ridiculous than what we deal with.
Fishface laughed as he fell into the floor with his robot legs swinging back and forth. Shredder spun around and glared at his 2 minions, who ceased their laughing, while Fishface got up to his feet. The master of the Foot Clan looked back at the Dazzlings and Karai.
I warned you about making this worth it. But I have no such time for childish fairy tales.
Master Shredder, came a buzzing voice as Stockman Fly flew onto the scene. I believe there is some truth behind their story.
What are you talking about, Stockman?
Shredder asked, feeling cross enough. Baxter buzzed back in fright before answering. I've analyzed this piece of the gemstone Adagio gave me, and upon my analysis, this gem isn't of any type of stone found from Earth, not even from Dimension X. Its properties does have a faint aura around them, so you see, they obviously do have the power to feed upon and contain negative energies from those they hypnotize. If you permit me, I could restore these gemstones and possibly make them better than before. That is, if you will allow it, Master. Shredder eyed Stockman before looking back at the Dazzlings. Then he answered.
Very well. I shall leave you to it, Stockman.
I shall get started immediately. Stockman flew off back to his lab. Shredder then approached Karai and the 3 Dazzlings before looking upon the 3 Sirens.
Adagio Dazzle, Aria Blaze, and Sonata Dusk. You 3 will serve me and help me in eliminating Splinter and the Turtles. Fail me, and I promise you the consequences will be dire.
He warned them as he held his right hand up and the twin blades popped out from the gauntlet showing the 3. They calmed down as Adagio spoke.
As you wish, Master Shredder.
Aria and Sonata smirked, seeing their alliance had been made.
But you will also need trading until your gemstones are restored, which is why Karai will be in charge of whipping you 3 into shape. Understood?
The trio looked to Karai, who was smirking before Aria answered.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Shredder left the room. Karai spoke.
Well, girls, it looks like we're gonna be busy. Don't we know it?
Adagio answered.